After 7 days, the blastocyst reaches the end of the fallopian tube and arrives in the uterus, a haven for the next 9 months. More than a week has passed now since conception, but until she misses a menstrual cycle, the mother may not even realize she is pregnant. Pregnancy is divided into 3 blocks, or trimesters. In the first trimester, the first 3 months, the single egg transforms itself into a blueprint for the fully formed baby. All the features of the human body, limbs, nerves, organs, muscles, will be mapped out in the fragile first 9 weeks. The embryo is now starting to take shape. During the 3rd week, the embryonic ball of cells, no bigger than a pinhead, folds in on itself to form a long tube. The top of the tube is growing into the head, and the trunk of the body stretches down below. The head doesn't look much like a head yet, but at day 15, nerve cells begin to form in what will become the brain, as well as in the spinal column, exposed and totally unprotected by skin or bone. Inside her body, the mother is creating a safe world for the baby to grow, protected from the outside, nestled in a cocoon. As soon as she becomes pregnant, drastic changes sweep through the mother's system. Her blood volume may leap by up to 50% to cope with the extra demand for oxygen from the parasitic growth in her womb. Once the embryo embeds itself in the uterus, it will start to draw from the mother's bloodstream all it needs to grow. Another of the first organs to form is the heart. Until now, the heart has been a dormant clump of muscle cells. But after 22 days, it bursts suddenly into life, when still just the size of a poppy seed. One cell spontaneously contracts, triggers its neighbors, and sets off a chain reaction until all the heart cells are beating. The muscle cells in the heart are pre-programmed to contract. Later on, when the nervous system is more developed, the brain will carefully control the rate of contraction, keeping it steadily beating and pumping for the rest of the child's life. If she lives to 75, that will be nearly 3 billion heartbeats. Without a heart, there is no way of spreading around the food and oxygen the embryo needs to flourish. Now, with the heart pumping, primitive blood cells start to circulate in the fetus through veins no thicker than a hair, bringing vital supplies of oxygen and food to fuel the frantic growth. In just 3 weeks, the embryo has formed the beginnings of a nervous system and a heart that is capable of pumping nutrients round its tiny body. Some women pick up on the incredible events unfolding inside them and, alerted by hormonal changes, may realize they're pregnant without the aid of a test. This thin blue line on a home pregnancy test is triggered by hormones in the mother's urine. It may be the first clue of the changes that are about to happen over the next 8 months. After 4 weeks, the embryo is no bigger than a kidney bean and is growing by about 1 millimeter every day. Black dots on the head are the beginnings of eyes. The miniature single-chambered heart beats 80 times a minute and is getting faster every day. There are buds along the body that will grow into arms and legs. Plates of tissue growing in from 4 sides put the face together. The top section grows down to make the forehead and nose. The cheeks fold in from the side, joining up to form the top lip. Even in adulthood, we bear a clear mark from this join, the vertical groove between the mouth and nose, called the philtrum. If the sides don't join up properly, then the baby will develop a cleft palate and may need surgery to correct this once she's born. At day 30, even an expert would find it difficult to tell, just from looking at it, if this embryo is going to become a human, a pig, or an ape. Just 1.5% of our genes make us human. We share 98.5% of our DNA with chimpanzees, 3/4 with dogs, half with fruit flies, and 1/3 with daffodils. For the next few weeks, the embryo will continue to grow according to its own internal genetic blueprint and will become more like a potential human. The fetus has been growing now for 6 weeks. It is about 2 centimeters long, and the whole thing would fit neatly inside a walnut. Just black dots a few days ago, the eyes are now glassy, sightless domes with no eyelids, set widely apart. The head itself is still massive compared to the body. Even at birth, the head will be 1/4 of the baby's body length. The rest of the body won't catch up with the head until adolescence. After growing for 8 weeks, the embryo looks more like a tiny human and becomes known as a fetus, which in Latin means offspring. She has reached an important milestone. Until now, the embryo was dependent on the